تدقيق المعلومات يحدث أثراً كبيراً جداً على الأرض، فما هي أهم قصة عمل عليها مدققو معلومات من حول العالم في عام 2023؟
The most important story I did this year so far is I examined how the Centers for Disease Control, which is a health agency in the United States, had misrepresented a study that they had produced. And they misled people about the results, which led to all sorts of headlines. But when I looked at the data, they mischaracterized what their data said. So they had to fix the website, they had to correct what they had done, and I felt like I had provided a public service.
The most important job we have done in this year, it was about a speech of Erdogan, President of Turkey. So Erdogan said after a huge earthquake, which shook more than 11 cities in the Turkey. So Erdogan said that we couldn't be prepared this kind of massive disaster. However, when we look at the research, actually researchers expected that earthquake. They actually said that in 2020, 2019, there will be huge earthquake and there will be massive disaster. And they even said that there will be twin earthquake. So the speech of Mr. Erdogan was completely false, and we debunked the speech. We published the article. It was the highest impactful job for us in this year.
The Alexandra scam. So it was about a coordinated effort to defraud people. So the people behind this used the video of a small girl who was reported to have cancer, but then Dubois fact-checked, and then we found out it wasn't true, that it was just a coordinated attempt to defraud people. This one, we call it Baba Aisha. It's about a man who sells a concoction. He calls it the medicine that can cure a lot of diseases. So we carried out about 5 months of investigation. We brought in the organization in charge of, what do you call it? Approving drugs in Nigeria, and then we found out that the activities were fraudulent and that the drugs that they were producing, the concoction, was actually harmful to people's livers and lungs. And so one of the impacts from the story is that they've been shut down, and we won this award.
One of the most significant stories we've done this year is there was a horrific train tragedy that took place in Odisha, a state in India, and hundreds of people have lost their lives since then. In fact, very soon after the accident took place and the news reports came out, there were several communal claims that went around. One of them saying that one of the railway officials who was involved in probably not paying attention enough, because of which this accident happened, was from a particular religion. So what we did is we tried to look for the names of the people or the officials who were stationed at that particular region, and we did not find any such name which all these claims were making. Then we also spoke to the railway public relations officer, and then we spoke to certain journalists there who were covering the incident, and we found out that there was no person by that name. In fact, no one from that particular religion, any person from the particular religion that was being quoted, we didn't find any of them there. So that is how we wrote the story, and we published the story. So in my view, that is one of the most significant stories that we did.
A special report on narratives that drive climate change misinformation in China, which is a really long article, specialized in examining different narratives running in China. In this report, we actually found that many of those narratives most likely to be driven by nationalism, by sort of like political factor. So we found lots of interesting findings, and I think it would be like a special, wholesome examination of the entire issue.
We at Foxbase West Africa have operations also in Nigeria, apart from the other 4 West African, Anglophone West African countries we operate in. On the eve of Nigeria's elections, we saw a claim that had been viewed close to 1 million times on Twitter, which said that one of the leading contenders in the elections, Peter Obi, had been featured on the front page of the Time magazine. And this was going viral, and people were going about also voting. So when we were alerted to it, we quickly went to work to verify the claim. And we used Envid to verify whether the claim had been manipulated. And there were some indications that the photo that had gone viral had been tampered with. We also went to Time magazine, their archive of front pages, and we were able to verify from there that they had not featured one of the leading contenders in the elections on the front page.